Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So hello and welcome. My name is Michael Burke with Interdyne VMI. We just want to say thank you for attending today's webinar, the Affordable Care Act, ACA, Reporting, and Microsoft Dynamics GP. This session will be led by Nancy Matthews. Nancy's been installing, implementing, and supporting Dynamics GP for customers for over 29 years. She is a CPA and is focused on payroll and HR implementations here at VMI. If you have any questions during today's presentation, please use the chat feature or the raised hand icon that's located on the dashboard to the right-hand side of your screen. We're also going to have time for Q&A with Nancy at the end of today's webinar, and we'll be answering all the questions submitted then. And that should cover all the housekeeping. So with that, take it away, Nancy.
Thank you, Michael. Hi. So I'm going to go over, as Michael said, the ACA in Great Plains. I'm going to show you what Great Plains will and will not do. Hope to start educating you on the requirements that you're going to need and what you're going to need to do at year end. And if you have more advanced functions, point you in places that you'll need to go for that. So first of all, let's start. We're going to cover kind of an overview, which I just did, phase 1, phase 2, and resources. Phase 1 is the tracking. In the 2014 year-end update, code was added to Great Plains to start tracking ACA information. This is included in the Human Resources module. So includes table changes for automatic ACA tracking. It's included in GP 2013 and GP 2015. So if you're on GP 2010, GP 10, 9, whatever, that information will not be updated in Great Plains, and you need to use Human Resources. It was installed with the 2014 year-end update, and then in January there was a hot fix, and in March there was another hot fix. So you will need to be on the March hot fix of GP 2013 or 2015. You need to make sure Human Resources is installed. If you want to track uncollected deductions, then you would need to also install deductions and arrears. If you have not used HR, you would install HR, and then you could do a reconcile for your benefits in payroll over to HR. And if you need to, enter your dependents and ACA information. And we'll go through this in a little bit more detail. No changes were made to the business portal. GP 2015 self-service was updated for ACA, and like I said, the March hot fix included the forms. Any changes you make, so if you want to add somebody to ACA and they started in February, you would need to change your system date in Great Plains to February when you add them. So that's kind of how Great Plains is using the start date. It's based on the system date when you add that employee. In the ACA Act, there's some look-back information. This is if you have somebody who worked part-time, then full-time, then part-time. So there's some information in the UPR 30300 and 301 tables that will give you information about how many hours they worked. Exchange, there's extra fields, secondary status, and additional information to use. And then these are the tables that were set up in HR for the people that like this technical information. These are the benefit and the HR benefit tracking information. They also added a benefit smart list, default list, and they recommend, they being Microsoft, to use the employee type or class if you want to distinguish between full and part-time employees. Here again, March hotfix, here's the version number. If you want to check to see if your version number is on that hotfix, for 2013, it's version 1894, and for 2015, 0661. All right, let's talk about who has to file. All applicable large employers. These are known as ALE members. And you wonder, what is an ALE member? The IRS government considers anyone who employs more than 50 full-time people on an average is considered a large employer. Kind of surprising. So that's not that's an average of 50 people. So it's not 50 W-2s. It's 50 people on an average payday. So you could have 70 W-2s, but those are 20 people that came and went. An employee who works more than an average of 30 hours a week or 130 hours per quarter is considered full-time. 30 hours, not 40. When do you need to file? You need to send a 1095-C to your employees due January 31st. Actually, this year it's going to be February 1st because January 31st is a Sunday. So basically, it's on the same time schedule as W-2s. If you have less than 50 employees, you do not fall under this, and you do not have to file. For 2015 filing in 2016, there is a waiver for anyone with 50 to 99 employees. So you do not have to file 1095-Cs to employees. You must file a 1094-C. 1094-C is the transmittal form that you send with your 1095-Cs. So if you're sending, 102 1095-Cs, you have a cover page, which is the 1094-C, that says this is how many I'm sending. If you fall within that 50 to 99 range, then you're covered by the waiver, but you have to sign that you did not decrease your workforce so that you would fall into that. So if you in 2014 had 103 employees on a regular basis, and then you let 4 go so that you would fall into this, they're not happy with you. You filed to the IRS February 28th. March 31st is filing electronically. If you have more than 250 1094-Cs, you must file electronically. GP will not file electronically. So in that case, you would need a third party, also known as an ISD, and I'm going to discuss those options here later. But that would be one, you would be required to have one of those if you have more than 250. Another rule on the 50 to 99 and below 50 is they don't just look at your companies. If you have any related companies, they are all combined and considered one employer. So if you have several companies that are related, similar ownership as defined by the IRS, then you would be considered one employee, and you would fall into the category of number of employees based on the combined groups. Is there a penalty for not filing? Yes. In fact, it's $500 per employee. I was told that was $500 per month per employee. I have not been able to confirm that it's per month. So let's just say it's $500 per employee at this point, but it could be higher, maximum $3 million. And this was in the fine print of a global trade law signed by Barack Obama on June 29th. So, I know the feeling is that this is going to be deferred, delayed, but I don't know. There's little indications like this that, be prepared. So even if you're paying for great coverage for your employees, be sure to file the returns. There is also penalties for employers that do not offer coverage, do not offer minimum value affordable coverage, all of that. This $500 is just for not filing the form. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what was added to Great Plains to start tracking this information. This is the HR benefit form, and you'll see down there at the bottom left, there's 2 boxes that say Affordable Care Act information, offer of coverage codes, and safe harbor codes. this screen right here will tell you what those codes are. The first one, the Affordable Care Act codes, are more what kind of insurance does this person have? Employee only, employee and spouse, employee and family, no coverage, etc. And the second one is more the safe harbor, why the employee was not employed during this month, he was not a full-time employee, or some other sort of safe harbor rule that you could apply. So those are the two boxes. Next is, the screen was added for employee dependents, and this is where you can put in the dependent Social Security number, the gender, the birth date, and the coverage. Now the good news on this is dependents are only required on self-insured plans. So if you do not have a self-insured plan, you do not have to worry about dependents, and I think that's probably most people. So once you've got all this information in Great Plains, then how do you print it out? So what you do is you run your year end and go to the screen like you're printing your W-2s, and as you can see, two new fields were added down there, 1095C and 1094C transmittal. And to the right there is an example of what a 1095C looks like. And I saw a draft of the 2015 form that recently came out. No changes. It looks exactly the same. So basically you have in there the employee name, address, social, the employer's information, and then those codes go across which months they were covered, or if they were covered for all 12 months. And down below, if it's a self-employed, self-insured plan, you would have the dependent information. In addition to the Edit W-2 screen, two more fields were added, two more screens, and this is where you can override any information that comes. So if it comes over there, you can override it. Again, for people tracking this information, year-end tables, UPR 10, 100, 108, 9, 10, and 11 were all updated with this information. Two new forms were added, and the 1094C and 1095C, and Print W-2 and Edit W-2 were changed. So that's what Great Plains is going to do. There's, as I mentioned, if you have more than 250 W-2s, Great Plains will not do them. GP has, at this time, will not be adding that feature. Also, if you have more complex issues, you have a lot of people that are part-time, moving to full-time, and you want to track that kind of information and have the system warn you when they go full-time, when you have to look at coverage for them. Are you offering the adequate coverage for your employees? Is it affordable? All of those things are addressed with these two products. Green Shades and Integrity Data are the two that have a product. Like I said, if it requires more than 250, both of these products do not read from the HR tables. They read from the payroll tables. So you just can set up in their product, and your data, as long as you have deductions and benefits set up in your payroll today, then that setup is done. Also, both of these products will work with Dynamics GP versions 10, 2010, 2013, and 2015. So if there's an issue where you can't upgrade, one of these products would probably work for you. So let me talk a little bit about both products. There's people that's all they do is this ACA stuff, and they know this stuff inside and out. And God, the more I learn, the more I realize there is involved with this act. But the Green Shades offerings there's three of them. One, they have a product which is online benefit enrollment. This lets your employees go online, register for different benefits they want, and it's all done online, and Green Shades will read all of those tables. They also have what's known as Dynamics Payroll Inspector, and Payroll Inspector reads from your payroll, deduction and benefit, mostly benefit codes, and it will alert you if you have somebody that should have coverage and does not. They will also do the electronic file generation, not only for your employee, not only to the IRS, but they will also do it electronically to your employee. Another one is they have a template that you could, in Excel, create all this information, upload it to them, and they'll produce the 1095s and transmit them to the IRS. That would be if you want to do everything manually. Like I said, it monitors eligibility, alerts if an employee needs review, monitors if an employee does not have minimum value offering and affordable coverage, which is the term the IRS uses, manages new hire measurement and stability periods. There's, involved in this act, there's stability periods, look backs, new hire, all of that kind of stuff. You have to look at different time frames as to whether an employee is eligible or required to have insurance. Of course, it alerts you when an employee falls below, collects data for the 1095, and electronically files them. And here again, all of this is reading your existing GP payroll tables today. This is a screenshot of their Payroll Inspector product. The top section has to do with the Affordable Care Act. The product also does other things which are below: tax rate changes, tax codes. But it will generate this file. You tell every morning it will generate it, and it'll give you these warnings. And then you can click on Fix Now. If you do that, you get a screen, and it will list out the people with no coverage, and it'll give an explanation as to why it thinks you should be covering them. Also, it has a monthly coverage view of for each employee. It's different reports that they do. For more in-depth review of the Green Shades product, we have set up next Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 Central, a webinar that Green Shades will go through their products in more depth, and I think we're going to be sending out a follow-up email, and we will put this information in there. So if you want to attend that one, that's specifically for Interdyne BMI clients. If you cannot go at that time, let us know, and we'll get with Green Shades, and they will show you their product. Integrity Data has a product called SIP Neo. Here again, it works with GP versions 10 through 2615. It's a familiar interface where Green Shades is more outside the system. Integrity Data is within the GP interface, and I'll show you their screenshots in a minute. And here again, they do the same eligibility tests and coverage that Green Shades does. Here's a shot of their setups. So you can see here's which payroll codes to include, which benefit codes to include. So they have this set up. They estimate setup for their product is 1 to 4 hours. So very easy. Here's a sample of one of their reports telling you by month what reports, how many employees you had. And that's also important with these two products. If you need to document that you are following the law, both of these products have the ability to document that for you. standard measurement period set up. This is where they're setting up the standard measurement period, the administrative period, the stability period, and there's also the new employee hire period. So there's several different periods that you have to monitor when you set these up. Integrity Data has an ACA webinar every Wednesday from 1:30 to 2:30 Central Time. So may even be able to sign up for it today if you're interested, but every Wednesday they do it, and I know they have them scheduled for the next 2 months. But if you went to their integrity-data.com and their events section, they have a place where you could go in and they do weekly demos. And they go into very in-depth issues on what the law is. Resources, here again we can send out some of these blog information, but this is just some blogs that have been tracking this from Microsoft. So, Michael, do we have any questions?
Let's see, we have not had any submitted so far. Actually, I think we got one right now. Okay, does ALE apply to nonprofit employees, or employers, I'm sorry?
I believe it does. I could follow up on that.
Okay, definitely, yeah, I will mark that one and we can follow up later on that one. Okay, so another one.
I have not seen anything where it does not. Okay, go ahead.
So another one we had was you had 130 hours per quarter. That is 10 hours a week. Is that correct? I thought it'd be 30 a week, which would be 390 hours a quarter.
Oh, you know what? I think 130 per month. I had that wrong.
Okay. And yeah, we are also going to be including the slide deck from today's webinar and the follow-up email, so we will send that out to everyone then. Another one we had was, Nancy, how do we start the process if we have green shades and GP? Do we need to make sure GP is set up, or should we work with green shades first?
It's a combination of both. We're going to have to, if you already have green shades, then they have their ACA product, and it also works with their 1099 product. So we would work with green shades to set it up. What you would have to do in Great Plains is that it requires that a benefit be set up for insurance for single, insurance for family, insurance for employee and spouse, and then there's a fourth one. But they have certain requirements in Great Plains that you have a benefit set up for each of those categories. So I think you would start with working with green shades, and then we would all dovetail with Great Plains also.
Okay, thank you. And we have a few more here. So we have an assisted living site and a care center site with separate tax ID numbers. Combined, we have about 240. Do we have to file electronically?
No, if you have 240, you can file paper. The thing with assisted living, and what you need to make sure of, is that you're good on, full-time versus part-time, and that you're documenting all of that, especially since you're kind of at the 240, 250. But no, you do not have to file electronically.
Okay, and we got one. What about 1095Bs?
Don't know about 1095Bs.
Okay. Okay.
Great Plains does not do those. Now, maybe, I know for a fact GP does not do 1095Bs. Perhaps that would be a question for green shades or integrity.
Okay, awesome. So we are getting some more questions now. So do we just need to contact our GP rep to get the hotfix?
Yes, yes. GP rep would be able to help you with the hot fix.
Okay. Another one we had, we are upgrading to GP 2015 but don't have the HR module. Will we be able to print the 1095C without contracting another entity?
With GP 2015, when you upgrade, you will own the HR module, even if you do not now. So when you upgrade to 2015, you need to make sure you install the HR module. Then you will, if you do not have the HR module, you cannot print 1095Cs. But you do own it in 2015, so you just need to make sure it's installed as part of your upgrade.
Okay, and then we had another upgrade question. If we are set for an upgrade in August or September, how hard would it be to install green shades prior to that upgrade? And also, would it interfere with any of the upgrade?
No, because Green Shades works with any, versions 10, 2010, 2013, 2015, so it works with all those versions now. So there might be a small upgrade to the Green Shades, but it would be very small and shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, thank you for that. Will GP offer on-site tutorials to explain data entry process in HR module?
I can look. They have not yet, but I think there are some YouTube ones going up out there. I'm sorry, say that again, on-site?
Yes, so will GP offer on-site tutorials to explain data entry process in HR module?
I don't know if GP is, but I'm working with Shirlene, and we're going to create a Word document from Interdyne that will explain exactly what has to be done for HR and ACA information. So I'm not sure if Great Plains or Microsoft or Great Plains, but Interdyne plans on doing that.
Okay, perfect then. We had some great questions. We got a few more here. So do they have to be new benefit codes, or can we just use the ones we have?
You can just use the ones you have. If you are working with a product such as Green Shades or Integrity, they do have a specification as to that you have to have a code for certain things, but yes, you can use your existing codes. You may need to add to your codes or maybe change the codes. But.
Okay. In a scenario, if we have an employee that was eligible but was added a month later in health benefits, how does this affect ACA reporting, and is there any penalty?
So you're saying that he's eligible in, say, March, but he wasn't added until April? I think you just simply, in April, put in there that he was on the insurance.
Okay. So it sounds like with either Green Shades or Integrity, they don't actually have to be synchronized over to HR tables. This will save employers a lot of time if they aren't already using HRs for benefits.
That's correct.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear. I don't want you to go out and set up all your HR tables and get it all done and then come along and say, oh, we have 300 people. Oops, we need to use Green Shades or Integrity, and we didn't really need to do all that work. So that is definitely true.
Okay, our last couple here. We had BCBS till March in Humana starting from April, where people had the ability to change their electronic/open enrollment. How does this change integration with GP reports?
I don't think who your carrier is affects these reports. You're saying that maybe your codes are different?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. We can follow up more in depth with that. That seems like it's a little more pinpointed. So,
It is, it is.
okay. So our last couple here. If our organization shares most of our insurance with another organization, do we still have to file 1094 if we only have 19 employees and they have many more?
It all depends on if you're related companies. And IRS has regulations on specifically what related companies are, common ownership, that type of thing. If you have common ownership, then you are considered a single reporting company, and you would have to combine that. And FYI, Green Shades and Integrity will do the combined company reporting.
Perfect, thank you. And how does it track dependent info from month to month? We need to backfill data for 2015, or would they need to backfill data for 2015? I'm sorry.
Okay, remember, dependent information is only required if you have a self-funded employee insurance plan.
So I'm sorry.
Assume you do.
Go ahead, yeah. She also included at the end they are self-insured.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, you would have to go back in. You basically go in and change your system date to January 31st, and you put that information in. Then you have a new guy in February, or January 1st is probably the date you would want to put in. Then add your dependents that had insurance in January. Then you change your system date to February 1st and add the ones there. So yes, you would have to go back and backfill all that information.
Okay, perfect. And then we just have one last comment here, and that will wrap it up. And that is, if clients are using the GP ACA features, any editing of the 1094 reports will happen only when they have the year-end wage file in place. I think that one was more
that
just
would be correct. And if you edit that 1090, if you create your W-2 file and you edit your 1094 information, and then you delete that and recreate it, you would have to re-edit your 1094 information, similar to W-2. But as you're working on this, it's a good idea to go out and create that file, in August, and print your 1094s just to see, print your 1095s just to make sure you're getting the right data. Then you can delete that file before you do your next payroll.
Awesome. Well, that covers all the questions that we had. Actually, sorry, we had one last one. We aren't creating W-2s from GP. Can we still print 1095C?
Yes. As long as you're running the payroll in GP, you can.
Okay, easy enough. Well, that was the last question that we had submitted. So if anything else does come up, feel free to reach out to myself or your account executive or manager, and they'll be able to assist you more from there. Another note is that we will be sending a follow-up email that will have a recorded version of the webinar, the slide deck, and a little bit more information about the ISV solutions that you heard with that. And with that, but I just wanted to say thank you again for your attendance, and we wanted to thank everyone and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you very much.